Hey. How's it going, everybody? How's it going in KO City? Am I right? Am I right? No, I'm not. I'm not right.
So, well, I mean, that's subjective. What context?
How dare you, sir?
How dare me? How dare me?
That's it. I'm the leader. I'll decide who's awesome. I'm pretty
Are
awesome.
Are we going to follow the leader?
Anyways, hi guys. Yeah, we're weird. Sorry. We're even weirder in the pre-show, which this is. If you look right up there, it's the pre-show. The pre-show. Some would say the only pre-show that really matters in the cosmos. In the cosmos. All right. So something really special happened today. Something super special that I think needs to be talked about. And that is Dave motherfucking Filoni is the executive creative director at Star Wars. Woo!
So is he replacing Kathleen Kennedy?
I'm pretty sure they just killed her off in between seasons because nobody's really heard from her lately. ever since episode 9, she's just like back into her coffin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that shows right off the bat that it's like, okay, we're in good hands. Like
we are in such good hands.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already sort of thanks to Mandalorian, Clone Wars, now The Bad Batch, because of all that, he's already kind of been noted as the Kevin Feige of Star Wars. And so it's like, but now it's totally official.
Fitting. Right, yeah.
So, I mean, if you watch our other podcast, which is Nick and Nate, we loved The Mandalorian, and like The Mandalorian in many ways has like saved Star Wars. You could argue successfully, probably. You could argue that the Clone Wars did that just as much. But where the Clone Wars gets it wrong is, unfortunately, it's an animated series. So there's just some people who, you know, they're like, oh, I'm too mature for Saturday morning cartoons. You know what I mean? So in general, the live action of, you know, Mandalorian or whatever, I feel is what really got it into the mainstay. But not only that, but since it was kind of championed as like the Disney Plus thing that you needed Disney Plus for, I think that also gave it a leg up on something that was on Cartoon Network, and then they had another one on Disney Plus or Disney DX, and then they had another whole series Rebel on Disney, and it was super confusing.
And that's the thing. Yeah, that's the biggest problem is I never got into Rebels at all. Like I thought it was like, oh, okay, that's definitely gonna be a kid's show. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. I don't care about it.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave Filoni had a big part of Rebels, right?
No, yeah, he was one of the directors. He's also Chopper. He's the droid Chopper. But no, little did I know that's one of the before Clone Wars season 7 was probably the single most important Star Wars content we had, because it literally went into so much lore, a lot of stuff, a lot of the ideas that were going to be in episode 9, the Colin Trevorrow's version. Had come from Rebels or come from other lore.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, I seriously missed out catching up on it. It's like, wow, okay, no, that was, easily incredible. So Clone Wars season 7, I think, has overtaken it, because I don't understand how that was able to revive a show like that and also make Revenge of the Sith, a movie that came out in 2005, better.
Right. Which arguably, out of the trilogy, Revenge of the Sith was the best, because it's like, that's what everything was building up to. So story-wise, lore-wise, like, that's what we really cared about. The Clone Wars was nice, you know, other than the, I hate sand, it's coarse and it gets in between you. Why did I sound like Stewie just now?
Brian. Cool whip. Cool Whip.
Gonna go back home and get some Cool Whip.
Cool Whip. Cool Whip.
I don't think I've ever actually tried a Stewie voice, but that was pretty good. I mean, I feel like with some work, it could do good.
With some work,
if you didn't know already, welcome to the pre-show. No, we're not talking about Knockout just yet. We're letting it simmer.
We're gestate.
We're gestating it.
That feels a little bit wrong to say, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. That's what you get here. Fucking Vine references. Explain to me the origin of meme. What makes a meme?
The origin of meme dates back to the Latin word transcribed as meme.
Meme.
In the land of...
Not to be confused with nay-nay.
With that one, you have to have the whip with the nay-nay. I honestly, whenever, if you're like, hey, define what a meme is to me, like the first thing that pops into my head is like the cartoon stick drawing memes, like the troll face and you mad bro and the you don't say, those because I can remember those were like the meme generators and like the kid, the like enthusiastic kid, and like that's what I think of memes. But
like, I guess what makes a meme? Just like a picture and or
a picture
short clip that could just be used in any situation.
Yeah,
like, I don't know, is that like a weird ass explanation of what a meme could be?
And watch me meme.
What about you?
What about meme?
What about you? There's me. What about you? Why is it always about me?
Me.
Selfish fucker. This is also probably the most unedited part of the show because you get to listen to it live.
We used to call these the late night edition.
If you're a person,
it is late night edition.
This is the late night edition. This part doesn't even make it into the episode. I purposely leave this part out because you only get the dumbassery of unfiltered Nick and Nate here and on the Nick and Nate show, but that's really not the point that I'm trying to make at this particular time. All right, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
We're going into it right now. We're going to start back at zero, and then we'll come in and we'll be in the show. You ready?
Giggity.
All right. Go mute.
Welcome to Knocked Out Radio, your number one Knockout City podcast. The podcast everyone needs to listen to for tips and tricks, play-by-play commentary, tournaments with prizes. That's right, we're talking merch, in-game currency, and even cold hard cash, baby. Join us live every Thursday, or listen later on Fridays on all your favorite podcast services. Knocked Out Radio. It's not just a good time, it's a knockout. Please
hey everybody, and welcome back to Knocked Out Radio. I am your host, Nick. Here with me today is...
Nate. 'Tis me.
I had to get rid of the pre-show. These audio listeners don't get the privilege of the pre-show. If you would like to listen to the pre-show, all you got to do is come join us live on Twitch or YouTube, and you can get all the Twitchy, YouTubey live goodness. I'm still hyped off of Dave Filoni. I can't not be hyped about. I'm having a hard time. Like, what are we talking about today? Oh yeah, Knockout City. Hey everybody, welcome to Knocked Out Radio. If you're joining us live, make sure to stick around. Today's going to be a special episode. It launched today. Wait, let me check. Yes, it launched today, at least as the recording. So if you're listening live, stick around towards the end. We'll leave you a link in the
link in bio,
link in the chat so you can join us and you can tell us what you think about Knockout Radio and, you know, how you're liking it so much and everything. So stick around for that. But if you're not, you are listening in audio form on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and all the other good services that you can listen to. Make sure to maybe give us a like or give us a review or something. It would be very much appreciated. Make us more discoverable and everything. Very much appreciated. And hey, if you do want to join us live, it's every Thursday at 8 o'clock Central on twitch.tv/ThreadX3 or YouTube at ThreadX3 Productions. All right, little bit of housekeeping, not so much this week because we're going to get right into it, but we're having a content creator launch charity tournament May 23rd. So by the time you're listening to this, it could be very close. It's going to be 3v3. First 2 rounds are going to be best 2 out of 3, and the last round is going to be best 3 out of 5. The winning team gets to pick what charity their money goes to. So far, we've got several teams. We even got some Boys of Blue, the Navy, joining us. So thank you for your service. So check that out on May 23rd. So if you're listening to this later and it's later than Sunday, you've missed us. But if you're listening on a Saturday, come on, guys, join us. Join us, watch us. It's just going to be a fun time.
One of us. One of us. One of us.
All right, so let's get into the news bulletin.
It's time to get caught up on all the news and gossip of the week. Let's take a look at our Knockout City News Bulletin.
That's right, it's time for your news bulletin. The game came out. News over. Hello, yay! It's almost like we planned it. All right, so I thought, obviously, a really good thing to do right now is maybe a review roundup. So let's see what are the thoughts about the game so far, and, you know, what kind of score does it have? I'm going to be honest with you, Nate, because I feel like...
Be honest with me.
I feel like we can do that. We're brothers. Brothers
Honesty,
in arms.
honesty is the best policy.
Well, how the fuck did you know? I'm not loving the review scores right now.
You're not loving it, is what you're telling me.
Not loving it whatsoever, because you look at, well, first off, I mean, there's a lot of reviews that haven't come in, which I'm actually okay with, because hopefully the ones that do come in later are going to be people who've played the game a lot. Because a lot of these reviews are kind of like, oh, man, come on. All right, so for instance, let's start with the PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4, and I'm assuming PlayStation 5 as well, because for some reason they have one tab for an Xbox One and one tab for an Xbox Series X, but no tab for a PlayStation 5. So let's just assume it's the same score because it's a little ridiculous at this point. But anyways, on the PlayStation 4, it has a 78. You know, not horrible, but also just not great. And so that's why I'm frustrated. PC is actually a little bit worse at a 76. PlayStation 4 has 5 critic reviews, and the PC has 10 critic reviews. If you break it down, we'll do PC because that's the one with the most reviews right now. If you break it down, there are 5 positives and 5 mixed. So it's like, that's good. The good thing is there are no negatives. You know, my biggest issue with this, let me know if you agree with me or not. My biggest issue with this is the fact that it's in the 70s. And that will unfortunately mean that there are people out there who will take a look at that. They won't think twice, and they'll just, you know, maybe they'll play it when all their friends are playing it, or maybe they'll play it when, I don't know, when it goes on sale or something. But there's a lot of people who will just look at that score and write it off. You know what I mean? Versus there's plenty of people who will look at each of the individual reviews and figure out which one speaks the most to them and make their decision off of that. There'll even be some people who look at how many positive versus mixed there are. And yeah, then there are the people who are literally just look at the score, and even though it's free for the first 10 days, they'll just be like, and they won't even download it, like not even worth it. So that's my only worry right now, is that it doesn't have like stupendous. It's still in the green, but a lot of people just won't look at that. What do you think? I don't want to be the only one talking.
So, I mean, you're not necessarily wrong, because I feel like I'd be one of those consumers, and I have been before. Days Gone being a really good example of one where it's like, oh, I didn't want to play it because of the review roundup. Like everyone's like, So, I think the fact that this being 10 days free helps this game out so much, almost to a Rocket League like advantage, to where it's like, hey, I might not have given this game its chance. It's free. Why the hell not? Oh, does that sound familiar? But like within the first couple minutes of me playing the game, I was like, oh, this reminds me of playing like not Halo as far as the actual gameplay itself, but that feeling you get when you play a fresh multiplayer you haven't experienced before.
Yeah.
And that gives you like it's like oh, okay. It's something new you haven't experienced.
Yeah. I would also compare it to that first time I played Rocket League, where it just like you immediately understand it, you immediately kind of click with it, and it's like, oh, okay, I get what you're going for, And there are definitely some people that might not be for, but I definitely feel like this one holds a broader audience because it's sportsy, so you can get your Rocket Leaguers, but it's also like you're taking down people, so you might get in some of your Fortniters or your Warzoneers,
right?
Which is totally a word. Don't at me.
Yeah.
So let's get a little bit more into the roundup. Okay, we're gonna start with Games Radar, still on PC because, like I said, they have the most. Games Radar. Clever and unique dodgeball battles make it an easy pick, especially during the free trial. 90. So, pretty good. I can agree with all that. Shack News. 80. I was thoroughly impressed with Knockout City. Valan Studios has created a dodgeball game that has solid mechanics and is really easy to pick up. The skill ceiling is also incredibly high, making room for some really competitive gameplay. With a plan to heavily support and add on the game over time, Knockout City is a welcomed addition to the sports game phenomenon. Pantheon. Wow, that is not even close to the word that was actually there. Okay, Windows Central, also an 80. Knockout City is simple concept that feels great to play, both alone and with friends. It's the kind of live service game you dream of. One that's fun and fair, packed to the gills with unlockables, and thanks to its dedicated team, will only get better over time. If we stopped right there, I'd be like, let's purchase this. Let's do it right now. Which, once again, that's only because we actually read the reviews. So yeah, I'm a little worried just because there are the average. The average is the only thing that sucks about this. All right, so why don't you read the next couple?
Okay, where was your stopping point?
I stopped at, so the next one will be Gfinity. Gfinity.
Gfinity. If you're lost, you can look and you will find.
Are you on the PC or?
Yes, I'm on the. What do you mean?
Are you on the PC page?
Here we go. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay. All right. So where am I at now?
Gfinity.
There we are. Yeah. Well, Valan Studios has created a competent multiplayer experience. Knockout City is not especially thrilling. There aren't many games that use dodgeball as a core mechanic, making it somewhat unique, but it feels afraid to take risks, creating an entertaining but ultimately safe experience. If you can gather up some friends, there's silly enjoyment within, and considering there's still enjoyment within, and considering it's got a free trial to say something of Game Pass / EA Play, I'd recommend at least trying it.
Yeah. So very lukewarm on that review. Also, I'm super triggered because I love the game so much. So to hear somebody be like, oh, the dodgeball mechanic is somewhat unique, but it feels afraid to take risks. And I'm like, this is a huge risk. Think about it. It's like, how many games out there are mainly about shooting an AK at another person? How many games out there are about, jumping onto an island and waiting for a circle to get smaller and smaller? There are tons of games. So it's a risk by itself to do something that nobody else has done and is not a proven formula. These people had to go to EA, EA out of all people, and had to pitch this game and have enough confidence in their product that EA was like, you know what? I think you guys have something here, I mean, really think about it. If it was any other company, I don't know, maybe you'd have a point here, but it's EA. It's in the game. Okay.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
The people who are completely fine with putting out sports game after sports game that literally does nothing different every single year was okay with putting out something like this. So to say that afraid to take risk, I'm going to call 1000% BS on that, because the game by itself, just making it, was a risk. But once again, I'm biased on this because I love the game, and maybe even because I have a podcast about it. But still, okay.
No.
Let's move on.
Okay, so
Spazio
Games. Knockout City is a fun gameplay experience. But how and if it will find a long-lasting place in the crowded games as a service market is yet to be seen. So basically not saying really anything bad about the game, more about the worry of where it's going to fall.
Yeah. And I get that, but it's like, I don't know. It'd be like if you put politics into a freaking game review. I didn't ask you for that. I asked you how good the game is. You know what I mean? But once again, I'm super salty at this point. So this is really just Nick's yelling hour right now, where I get to yell at people for, by the way, who the hell is Spazio Games? Who are
strap
you?
Strap in and strap on, boys.
Who are you? No, I'm sorry. I'm just being an asshole at this point. Okay, go ahead. Next one.
Attack of the Fanboy. Knockout City is an absolute blast, even if it doesn't have many reasons to return after players have had their fill. Short. To the point. Does that trigger you, Nick? Does that trigger you, Nicholas?
A little bit. I guess it's just that I have plenty of reasons to get back to it. Now, another thing to bring up, I know this is going to sort of help my point, but at the same time, like, I'm just pummeling it into the ground. But another reason to really talk about this is, so this is the Games Radar? Yeah, Games Radar review. Connor Sheridan, about 16 hours ago. What did he give it? He gave it a 90. Then we have, let's do the one you just read, Attack of the Fanboy. Came out May 21st, 2021. It doesn't give me a time, though. Let me try to find one with a time, because it sort of helps my point. If I can
let me find it, or else I'm going to sound like a jackass with the shit that I
Here we go.
said.
Here we go. So here we go. This one's today, obviously, 21st, 2021, at 1400. So that's 2 o'clock, right? So at 2 o'clock, when the game came out at 5 a.m. in the morning, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So he played for 7 hours, or he played it for a little bit and didn't really like it. There was one in particular, maybe it was Jaffinity. Here we go. May 21st, 2021, 5:41 a.m. To reiterate, this game came out at 5 a.m. So we played for 41 minutes, or maybe 30, and then shout out at review. Super salty. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My point here is either he didn't play it that much, or he had early access to it. But if you look at some of the reviews, I know like on the PlayStation one, it's in the... let's see. Like this one. A few hours spent in company of Knockout City. So there's a couple of reviews that in the review it says they're outwardly admitting that, yeah, I haven't played it that much. And while... back to my point that it is easy to pick up, and that makes it fun, there's also a lot of nuance to it. And I feel like by just worrying about how it's another live service, by worrying about how it's another, sports game or something like that, rather than just trying to look at it as its own game, I feel like, you're missing some of the nuance, and especially if you've only played it for just a little bit. But then my point about bringing up, sorry, I'm getting jumbled. I do apologize for the listeners and watchers. But my point of bringing up the Games Radar 90, to remind you, versus the Gfinity, who came out at 541, and he gave it a 70. My point to bring up that difference is Games Radar, the guy who wrote the review, he played it and it really attached to him and he really liked it and he gave it a 90. Whereas the guy from Gfinity, he played it and it just didn't attach to him. And rather than reviewing it as a game, he reviewed it as, a feeling, Mm-hmm. What I try to do when I do my reviews is, first off, I don't have arbitrary numbers because I feel like giving something a number, it's like, oh, well, you gave this one this number, but this one that number, so explain yourself, Instead, what I have my ranking as is recommendations. You should buy this day one. You should wait for a sale. You should wait till it's free, like that's how I rank my games, because the real recommendation, the real thoughts of what I think about the game is in the review itself. And I mean, 9 times out of 10, I also try to enjoy the game. I never try to, like, there are plenty of reviews that I'll actually skip because I just don't like crapping on a game. If I want to crap on a game, I don't mind doing that like on a podcast format, because it's like, hey, this game is just so stupid.
What have we been doing for the past 5 years?
Right? I mean, it's more fun that way because then it's a conversation.
Yeah.
I can make it a little bit more animated, like, oh my God, this effing, but that's different than a review format. In a review format, typically I would look at a game and I would try to look at the merits of the game itself. So like Rocket League, I hate to keep going back to it, but like Rocket League, I'm not really good at it and I don't love it entirely, but I'm able to play the game and realize that, no, that's like a 9 out of 10 game. Even though I might not play it day in and day out like the people who do play it day in and day out. But I'm able to tell you that is a 9 game. Well, once again, that's just me being super salty. I could fill up an ocean
with that salt.
I could fill up an ocean with the amount of salt I have. So I'm fully aware that it's just me being a little salty, that the game I really like isn't giving as much merits as it deserves and or I want it to. So let's move on for the review roundup. I said that with an accent. I didn't even mean to. Hopefully, maybe when some more reviews come in, it'll eke its way towards 8. With the time you've spent with it, what would you say is like, what do you think it should be at?
So I can't give you a specific score yet. What I can say is the thing that keeps popping into my head over and over again is this feels like I keep going back to Splatoon. And keep in mind, Splatoon is a game that I didn't physically have hands on. I've seen a lot of gameplay coverage of it. It's one of those I never purchased because I didn't have a Wii U and I didn't want to buy one. Long story short, but like I feel like Splatoon was such a massive thing for a small amount of time, but could have been bigger if it wasn't isolated to Nintendo.
Okay.
So this gives me that kind of aesthetic with that new, fresh gameplay multiplayer experience. But I do see these simple areas of it.
Right.
I definitely think that there's some stuff that can be fixed and that can be work in progress later on. There's a couple of critiques I had within the first 5 minutes of the game. If I'm to give a tentative score from my time, I mean, I would definitely say it's without a doubt in the 80s. I don't know if I would put it in the 90s. But I mean, I wouldn't say it's 70. I wouldn't.
Yeah. And I think that's why I'm so salty, is because I believe it deserves to be at least in the 80s. Like the very least amount it deserves is to be in the 80s. And so yeah, that's the main reason I'm salty about it, is because it's like, come on, it deserves a little more than that.
First they're sour, then they're sweet.
And maybe it is a 7 game, but not everybody plays a 7 game. A lot of people will not even touch a game unless it's 8. So it's like, that's the only reason I feel like it deserves, well, not the only reason, obviously. I think it's maybe closer to a 9, but maybe 8.5. It's not a perfect game, but it's also not a mediocre game, because it's doing things that like not a lot of games or any games are doing, and that's what I really like about it. But anyways, let's move on, because get off that salt diet. And let's talk about some League Play. League Play will be joining us in 4 days, less from the time you're listening to this on podcast services. So, what does that entail? League Play. Hey, all you brawlers out there. God dang it, I have to scroll with this finger. It's finally time to spill the beans of how League Play, aka Ranked, is gonna work Knockout City. So let's talk about the basics. It looks like they have, you got your bronze, silver, gold, platinum, blue, green, red, and rainbow.
See, that doesn't feel. Am I the only one that
Maybe
feels like
sapphire.
that doesn't feel right? Like platinum, gold, green. Yeah, I don't. Does that feel like that doesn't go together?
Well, I guess blue is sapphire. Yeah, I guess blue is sapphire.
Yeah, but
maybe then it's emerald, and then it's ruby, and then it's diamond. Diamond would make sense to have like the top rank is diamond or whatever. But yeah, it's the red, green. Yeah, no, it's the blue, green, red in that order. That's kind of throwing me for a loop. But let's earn a link. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Earn a league point for every win. Bonus point for every match in a win streak of 3 or more. So that's cool. Lose a league point for every loss. While unranked League Play matches always reward a point. Stronger quit penalties for quitting a match. Cannot fall back to a lower tier during a season. Ooh, I like that. You will not fall back into a lower tier during a season. Mini games, once you get up to a certain rank, if you win enough, you'll go down, which a lot would say that that's the point of rank. But I don't know. It's kind of nice to know that, I might get to platinum and then just never go anywhere because I have too many losses in a row and not enough wins in a row. But then that just means I'm a platinum player. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the stress of having to get like so many wins in a row in order to get up to the next level that can be like really daunting. Where can I? Groups play at a highest. Oh no, groups play at the highest members rank. Your highest tier in any playlist determines your season rewards. Next season, you are reset for the previous tier. Okay, so if that means, for instance, I end the season shining bright like a diamond, I'll go down to whatever the heck red is. So that's kind of cool because it's not like we're completely starting over. Why are you muted? Hello? Was it your cat?
I'm going to blame that on the cat. Because I'm like, I didn't mute that. I didn't do that.
Anyway,
Okay,
so
cool.
Thoughts so far?
Cool. Thoughts so far in league? Well, so...
Tell me about it, Grover.
I gotta be honest with you. I'm spending at least an hour, 2, 3, maybe more to get comfortable before like I decide to jump in. But the way that this is laid out feels so much more presentable and something that I would actually want to pursue. Okay. Like when it comes to Apex, when it comes to Call of Duty, anytime you give me league play option, I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to get fucking ruined. I'm not I'm really, like, I'm competent to where I can in like pub matches, but I'm not. But with this, especially if you can get a good squad together in general who you play with normally, it makes it a lot more fun tournament vibe. And I like how it's laid out aesthetically, kind of similar to Fortnite, as far as like you were saying with the battle pass. Like it gives very pleasant viewing experience, which we know companies have been really trying hard since these loot boxes, trying to figure out what people like aesthetically, like to get them to continue to buy and stuff like that. But it's welcoming to me. That's the main takeaway I'm gonna have from it.
Yeah, definitely. I like the looks of it. It looks like we get some pretty good things. Let's go down. The next slot is basically just talking about the more specifics about each rank. But what's this? King of the Mountain. Now, we recognize that a few elite brawlers aren't going to satisfy with being great, quote unquote, and stopping at platinum. If you're the kind of player who is driven to be the best of the best, then get ready for battle your way into the elite divisions of Sapphire, Emerald, and Ruby. Hey, I was right! And Diamond.
Oh, you go.
Once you crack your way into Diamond rank, you'll notice that up here, there is no more tiers to push through, no more rewards to unlock. It's just you, your skill, and your drive to be the best of the best. If you've battled your way up, congratulations. You've earned the right to see your skill rate directly. No tricks, no number messaging, no sugarcoating. Just bask in the glory of knowing exactly where you stand on the scale from 1 to 5,000. The closer you are to 5,000, the closer you are to being the best. Okay, cool.
Because
ooh, shiny.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, especially with Sapphire and Ruby and Emerald, like I really want to be the best.
Around. Nothing's ever gonna touch you now.
Well, like no one ever was.
I didn't mean
to say like no one ever was. That's the main thing there.
No one ever was. All right, and then we get a little bit of
okay
at the end of the season. Sorry, I'm moving on. I don't know.
This is a Pokemon joke.
Oh.
I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. Okay, keep going.
I guess it's just that I don't give a rat's ass about
I know
Pokemon.
you don't. Keep going.
I'm a
keep going.
Digimon foo, yo. Okay? Digimon.
Digital monsters.
Digimon are the champions. Change into digital champions to save the digital world. Digimon.
This is the quality content you can sign up for. It's Digimon, digital monsters. Hey, let's get a brand deal with Knockout City. Digimon pack.
Yeah, you'll get like when you get thrown as like Metal Greymon, and then just smash down.
Or even what would be just dumb is the actual like I don't remember what is it like the Digimon It's been forever since I watched Digimon, dude. Like, what's the little like handheld thing they have?
Digivice.
Thank you.
That's the greatest thing about
Fucking cartoons from the 1990s and early 2000s. What is it? It's Digimon. It's a Digi-device. What is it? Pokemon. It's a Pokedex. Okay. That's
index of Pokey.
Oh my God! You epiphanied me.
You didn't realize it was an index of Pokemon? Pokedex? Oh my God!
What am I? An idiot sandwich.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Good stuff here.
Shit.
Okay. Where the hell were we?
I have no idea.
Well, we're going to take a quick little music break, and when we come back, we're going to do some tips and tricks. So we'll be right back.
There's not a single day that passes without you on my mind. Not even 1 minute can end up before you come around. I yearn for the days when I see your face here before me. I long for the times you held me in your arms.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's some good music, and Nate's not back yet. That's some good music that you could be listening to live if you just gave us a chance. Actually, that one sounds like it could have been from the game itself, with like the trumpets and
From the actual game.
yeah, that sounds like that could have been from the game, and you wouldn't have known that. Nah, it's just this site that I use for music or whatever. I like it. Now that we have you, let's get into it for real.
Get into it for real times.
All right, guys, welcome back. It is time for the 5 Ds of dodgeball. It's time to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. So Valan and EA, or I guess it's more Valan, put out their own skills to pay the bills. So we're going to go through here, look at them, see if there's any good ones and everything. Let's take a quick look, okay?
Okay, we're taking a look.
We're taking a look right now. Well, I guess there's a video. I didn't realize there was a video. I was just gonna like, hey, let's read through this or whatever. But there's a video.
Let's do
Readings
that.
for
We're the
fools.
school teachers in school. We're not gonna have a read through paragraph. We're gonna watch
Right.
a video. We're gonna watch a movie.
I'm a substitute teacher. I don't know.
I don't
what they
wanna-
want.
I
Let's
don't
just
wanna
wait.
do
Let's just watch Saving Private Ryan. You guys were learning about World War II, weren't you? Okay, click on it. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yep.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
For the record, it's 7 minutes
When we
long.
first
so-
started designing Knockout City, it was really important to me that this be a game that
I mean, it's
me and my
informative,
friends could easily pick up and play, but something we would actually stick to and develop our skills over time.
We really focused on making sure that the game, first and foremost, no matter what else happened, was fun.
When I think back to some of my favorite games, Smash Brothers, Quake 3, Halo, Rocket League, they all share
Yeah, you
that
brought up
kind
Halo.
of
It's funny you brought that
easy
up
to pick
too.
up
Yeah,
and play,
it's
but
that
there's still
new
so
kind
much
of
depth to
flair.
those games
Attitude,
where you could just play it for years and years and always get better.
A really big factor in making this a high skill game, in addition to something accessible, is that
Sorry, but I'm
depending
loving
on
it.
your proximity to other players.
I'm loving the style.
as
It
well
kinda
as
reminds
their
me of
skill
the,
level
He looks.
and
He
your
actually.
understanding
It looks
of
like a
them,
character from
you're
the.
Yeah,
playing
good character.
bigger
It looks like
games.
from
Once you
Celeste.
start getting
Definitely.
close to players, you start playing chess.
Everything that we developed in the game mostly starts with the game feel. What feels right? Every time we pick up the ball, every time we throw it, we want to make sure that feels satisfying.
There is a lot of kind of unique mechanics that kind of show up in the game, right? Curve shots, lob shots, fake throws.
Lob
there's
shots
the
sound so
overcharge perfect
dirty.
catch system,
Am I the
all the
only
different
one
ball
that thinks
types.
For each mechanic, we say one player up against one player. What are the different choices that you have in your attack? And what are the different choices that they have in their defense? And how can we create depth there first? Then we start to move later to teamwork strategies.
There was a lot of ways we could have gone to just make the game far more complex than what we currently have. But every time we did, it always felt like we were taking one step away from that core, solid.
It's like I want to be
fun
friends with all these
center,
guys.
that
Like
juicy
all these guys
molten
seem so
chocolate cake,
like
gooey
cool and
deliciousness
like I
that
just want
was
to
kind
be.
of the fundamentals of Knockout City.
Some of the best players in the studio are in the QA department, but by far the best player is
Let's see. This is me.
Chris Mercado. We call him Merc.
Neck beard.
Because we have too many Chris's.
I have a
Beard
reputation
and
in the
all.
studio.
This is
It's one
you.
of the things that somehow has made it into the introduction. We have new hires.
Hey,
Like, hey, here's Merc. By
look,
the way, he's
don't
pretty good at this game.
Works really good. He's probably the best player in the studio.
The best player in the studio is definitely Merc.
Quinn's really good. She's also like, she has really good positioning.
Yeah, I'm not
I
hearing
think
any
it's
tips
always
and
the
tricks.
Same group of people
Come on,
that I'm
guys.
afraid to go up against.
Yeah.
It would have to be.
This is a lot of
Quinn,
build-up.
Jazz, and
It is
Mark.
7 minutes
QA
long,
usually
but
has
it's
just
like
really
the
good
reason
like,
I.
technical skills.
Can I help you?
Like, oh, you're gonna throw them a supercharged ball, and they're just gonna catch
The
it. 'cause they do
child
that
or
all day, and
animal?
they're really good at it.
Man, when we talk
Child.
about strategies, there's so many.
Verticality, always. If you can get a slow lob off of any high platform, no one knows when to catch those.
Verticality is
Yes,
something
absolutely.
Getting a ball,
that I still haven't.
gliding over players, and just hitting them straight on the head.
Yeah,
That's actually a really good tip right there. Even if
in
you
the
do a
studio
slow
for,
lob,
what I would consider
not a
cheeky
charged
plays.
lob,
coming at one
but you're
opponent
doing it
with
from
two teammates,
right on
which is
top of
you
their
and another,
head,
just
it's
passing
really good.
back and forth, and then your opponent never knows when or
That's a good
who is
point.
going to throw the ball.
One thing I like to do
I like
is when
that.
I'm
That's a good
surrounded by
one.
the other team is to back myself to a ledge and jump off of it and just hang myself out in the middle of nowhere, no ground beneath me, and just float
that
gently
gives
back
me
in
anxiety.
And just
That
tempt
gives
the
me
other team, be
anxiety.
like, do something. Do it. I know.
That's
I'm
actually a
juicy
legit
target. Stare at
strategy
me,
in
stare at me. Don't
Smash.
look behind you. Don't look behind you. Don't worry, there's nothing over there. And then either my teammate gets up behind them.
Oh, it's a
or
distraction
I
point.
get one of them to trip up and then they end up falling off the edge.
Okay.
I have a regular ball and an opponent has a bomb ball. When they throw the bomb ball at you, if you can throw your normal ball at them, those two balls will collide in midair and set off the bomb ball and blow up in their face.
I didn't know
like
that.
off the map play. So either like gliding around behind someone, some of the maps like rooftops, you can get really nice flank routes just from one side of the garden to the other.
Timing and playing mind games with people. If you have a volley going back and forth between you and your opponent and you hold it for just a second longer, they're done.
Using the actual explosion effect of the ultimate throw to conceal what you're doing. Throw a dodgeball, throw a bomb ball through the smoke.
I usually just play with distance a lot. So what I'll do is I'll just find the distance that I like and I'll just wait. And people usually get really confused and they'll like panic dodge or like panic catch.
In the last beta, I went up against Jasmine. I was with a couple friends who hadn't played the game before.
Oh, I see Marina. And I'm like, damn it. Like, I'll have to focus on this one.
I recognized her name, and so I said, okay, guys, you have to just hold back. She will come at you with everything she's got.
2 people would come in, like, we'd get a wave of 2 people, and then I'd KO them. And then Marina would come in, I would disengage. The spawns would get reset. 2 people would come in, I'd KO them. Marina would come in, I'd disengage.
They didn't listen. They're like, oh, okay. Honestly, it's a Velen employee. We're gonna kick butt. They didn't kick butt. We got our butts kicked. I think we got 2 points total. So great time.
A lot of my gameplay involves the psychology of players that I'm going up against.
When I go up against Quinn, one of the things that she always does that
I
gets
do
me
like the
every
dynamic
single
of this,
time
how
is
they're
the
giving
fake
you,
throw. It's like she's right in my brain, and she gets me every
the studio
time. I've discovered that she really
gameplay back and forth
dislikes
because
the
a
screaming.
lot of times with those studio videos,
And my strategy
it
with
where
Quinn now is to
there's
start
like, oh
spamming
yeah,
that
we worked on the
screaming
game
taunt,
where
and
it's,
I run
you know,
right at her.
they're the ones giving the tips.
It
and
throws
tricks
off
and
her
everything.
sense of timing with her fake throw, and it allows me to get a hit off. She still usually beats me, but I feel better about it because I know that I made it a little bit more difficult for her.
He thinks that he can get inside my head by using my least favorite taunt. But the joke's on him because if you mute a player, you also mute the taunts.
That's funny.
The internal competition at Velen is pretty ridiculous.
This is a game that's really competitive, and we want to show that competitive angle. We asked ourselves, could this be an esport one day even? How do we internally kind of prove out that that is a thing that can happen? I'm the kind of person who doesn't really do things by halves, and my solution was, hey, let's have an internal tournament. We're gonna make teams, we'll have seasons.
We had this little thing called Turf Wars.
A series of matches, usually 3v3s.
Kind of pull people from different departments kind of together on teams. So it's kind of like a team building thing as well as kind of a competition.
We'll do a full competitive bracket throughout the duration of a given season.
And there's also been 2 occasions of what I call March Malarkey. It's a 1v1 tournament that is a single elimination bracket. And that's given us a lot of different opportunities to not only see what the competitive nature of the game is like when people are really, and I mean this in a nice way, being tryhards about it, but it's also given us a chance to see what the social experience can be around that.
During the last game, we'd all get together in the main office and just project the last game on the wall so that everyone was there, everyone was cheering. The office would just be separated, like they had their own team that they were rooting for, and it would get kind of crazy.
One of the things I'm really excited about when we release this game is I know the community is going to quickly catch up to our skill level. They're going to quickly learn all the strategies that we have. And then they're going to quickly surpass us. And I'm really excited to see what new strategies the community comes up with that we haven't even figured out ourselves. So I want to see Merc outdone. I want to see Merc go up against people that will just totally crush him and make him feel the way I feel every time I play against him.
Nice. That was nice. Wholesome.
That was nice. That was really like it kind of. I'm glad we did that.
Also, real quick, because I actually kind of feel bad about it. Gwyn Miller, I misgendered, and I feel like a fucking asshole for it, so I apologize for that. I was so focused on complimenting the outfit that, yeah. So I just feel like an asshole. Sorry. So yeah, all really good tips and tricks. There's even the one about the bomb. I had no idea that you could do that. So you can essentially bait somebody to, yeah, go ahead, wait for it. Because when you pick up the bomb, it'll start to beep and then beep faster and then eventually explode, right? So a strategy would be to wait till it starts to beep fast and then throw it, so that even if they catch it and try to throw it back to you, it'll explode by the time it gets to them. But then, yeah, having a strategy where you can actually just use physics in the game as a way to just explode the bomb as they're throwing it, like, that's awesome. And it's just the little touches of this game, the little touches of physics, the little touches of just strategy that makes this game a league of its own, in my opinion. You know, we'll get more into like our thoughts and everything in the next segment, but yeah, that's just something I wanted to kind of point out. So some really good tips and tricks, and luckily it was from the devs themselves, so it made my podcasting a little bit easier, especially since they had a nice little bow and put it on a video. So now, normally next, we would go into a segment called Play by Play. I even have this really cool intro for it, so let's see.
You send us the plays, and we'll tell you what's grooving, showing you the smoothest, the craziest, and most insane plays. This is the play-by-play straight from the KO radio community.
So there you go. Play by Play. Now, this is a segment where we would like you guys, the community, to send us in clips of yourself playing the game. Good clips, bad clips. We'll kind of do commentary on it. We'll tell you, like, oh, this is what you're doing right. This is what you're doing wrong. You know, here's some insight to what you can try next time. So, by all means, if you want to send us one where you're just absolutely slaying, you know, let us see how you're doing, and then we can kind of teach everybody a good moment. And then, but also, you know, if you're not great at the game, you know, don't feel discouraged in sending in your clips. Send in your clips, and we will go through it and figure out, okay, you know, at this point you should have done this, at this point you should have done that. So this will be the segment for that. But obviously, since the game just came out, we don't have any people sending it in now. You can send it to threadx3productions@gmail.com. Send us a clip, you know, whether it's on YouTube or anything like that. And yeah, we'll go through those next week. But let's get into the topic of the week, which is a super easy topic of the week because it's launch day. So we're going to talk about the game itself. Let's talk about our thoughts on it. You know, we went over the review
the review wound up.
And our thoughts on the reviews themselves. But now let's actually kind of review it ourselves. Now, granted, it is more of a first impressions because even me, myself, and I, you know, I have a wife and kids, so I've only played it maybe 2 hours, you know, because I got a job. I had a doctor's appointment today. So I played it for maybe 2 hours plus the 4 to 5 hours that I played the beta. So I haven't played a ton of it, but, you know, definitely want to give you our impressions. So would you like to start first, Nick? Nick. I called you
Nick. Hi, I'm Nick. Yes. So it was, yeah. No, it's okay. Long story short. So when it comes to this, again, we're coming at it from opposite sides me, kind of same thing. I'm an adult. I have a brand new job, and I'm also a procrastinator who did all of his homework in the last minute today. So good on me. So I got about 30 minutes to 45 minutes into the game. So that's kind of my total hands-on experience. Now I had seen videos. It was one of those, we had the conversation before. Like I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. But when I saw actual gameplay clip, I was like, oh, this looks cool. This looks really cool. And I am glad that I didn't get hands-on with the beta, so I don't have experience with that. But I'm glad that the feelings that I had about the game, just looking at the footage, were accurate. Completely. I love the aesthetic of it because it's kind of it's a cartoony, not so much Fortnite, but not so much like Sunset Overdrive, but it's kind of in that wacky veiny. It feels great though. That's the thing that I was not really expecting. I was almost not expecting clunkiness by any means, but I was expecting it to feel that smooth. Like just picking up the dodgeballs. I don't want to say picking up the balls. Picking up the dodgeballs.
Picking up the balls.
The balls. Picking up the dodgeballs. And how quickly that, there's no like lag input there. Like technically everything is sound. It's definitely getting the mechanics of it because I played about 4 matches, maybe something like that. I am not good, man. I got better towards the last couple, but like, it's like, oof. But again, what was driving me to play more is I had that same like fire, I guess is a good dramatic way to put it, of like, oh man, like I really want to play this. Like this is driving me to play this right now.
Yeah, that one more match mentality. Yeah, definitely.
Yep. So, mine are definitely still very much first impressions. But it's one I do want to continue to play. Going back to what I said about league play, I will a few hours. Give me a few hours.
Yeah,
maybe. But like I'm excited to play more of it.
Well, if I read it correctly, I think you have to be at least rank 10 to even get into league play,
which is cool. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, definitely. So, my praises for this game could not be higher. Obviously, a little grain of salt that you have to take this with is we have a podcast, so maybe he's just BSing because he's trying to put on a show or something. So take it with whatever grain of salt you need to take it with. But my God, I love this game, which is part of the reason I wanted to make a podcast. But that's not the point. I love this game. It's so buttery smooth, and honestly, even if you put the aesthetics aside, you put the game itself as dodgeball aside, and we just talk about the mechanics. That's what really, really makes this game work. Because, like, I love the aesthetic. Let's talk about the aesthetic real fast. So, it's like the 1950s. Like, the cars are all 1950s, the taxis,
it's a retro
the limos.
Style.
But it's futuristic, and I love that. Like, Fallout, I love because it's 200 years in the future, but 200 years in the future of what a 1950s person would think the future looks like. And that's kind of what we're getting here, only not post-apocalyptic and everything.
Which were like Futurama hamster tubes. Stuff like that.
Exactly, the hamster tubes. And this game isn't afraid to do outrageous things.
Case in point.
Thank you. Take two. Case in point. I have a glider that is a giant piece of pizza. It's so awesome because I have like a little handlebar, like I'm on a bicycle delivering this pizza, and then there's a giant piece of pizza with pepperoni, and of course there's steam coming from it as I'm gliding, and it's it's not afraid to be absolutely ridiculous. It's not afraid to do whatever the heck it wants, and that's really refreshing because I'm not gonna I'm gonna try not to compare it to Fortnite too much, but when you have something like Fortnite that is about 100 people, parachuting onto a island and then violently killing each other, but then you have a guy who's a literal muscular cat or a fishbowl in a Gundam suit or a banana man. Exactly. It just doesn't make sense. Like, okay. Like, I guess what I'm saying is the aesthetic doesn't match the gameplay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. And with this, the thing that I could also give to its credit compared to something like Fortnite is the simplicity. Like the simplicity is a nice difference, because we've been focused on the past few years of, hey, 100 out of 100, or if you're like Warzone or Blackout, it was like over 100. It's like this massive amount of player count, and you're literally going, hey, 3v3 in a dodgeball arena.
Yeah.
Now the verticality I can still say is one of the things that's still getting me as far as figuring out that, but I think once I get the movements down of everything, that'll help. Now I'll kind of go ahead and give my initial, I guess, main critique, and that would be, I don't know if I want more of a HUD, but the targeting system and I guess the design of the like health bars or like the enemy players, I don't care for. Like, I feel like it's kind of hard to distinguish. Because whenever my first match, I was like, I understand you said gold, but that's not like they're not wearing gold. Like, I don't see. I didn't realize it was like on the trim.
Oh, I see what you
It's
mean.
like
Okay.
it's like enemy and teammate
Where are you
distinction.
going with this?
I feel like should be, like, maybe give them outline, give some kind of like color outline.
Yeah. Okay.
That's kind of similar to whenever you're going through a wall or going past a wall.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I can see
It's
that. Yeah.
not as bad as like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, where everything is tan as fuck and like all the clothes match, but it's one of those that when all of the character types are the same size and wearing similar clothing, especially, it's like, wait, who's who?
Right.
That is one that I would say, but again, just very, very, I'm not gonna say surprised, because I feel like that sounds bad. I enjoying how polished it feels already.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, I can kind of sort of see what you mean as far as like distinguishing players against each other, especially if you have somebody on your team who also looks like somebody on the other team. As time goes on and people are unlocking these extravagant skins, that might become less and less of a problem, because, I mean, especially when you have the establishing shot of your whole squad, like jumping out of the car, you can kind of get an idea. It's like, okay, this guy has a spacesuit on, this guy has a, whatever on. But at the same time, it's always going to be that thing where when they release Godzilla on Fall Guys, everybody's Godzilla.
Yeah. And so let me ask you this. Well, I guess we could save it, because I don't know if you have anything else you want to talk about on that. My question is a good, like, final statement kind of question.
Go for it.
What do you think is going to make or break this game?
Ooh, yeah. Unfortunately, so I mean, if I can just like talk about the game itself, is great. The gameplay itself, the mechanics, like I said, even if we just talk about the mechanics and it's literally just cubes floating around, but the mechanics just feel so good. Even if that's all we're talking about, it's a great game. This game will live and die off the community, which is why I was super salty looking at the reviews, because it's like, seeing a bunch of people who may or may not even keep playing the game, dunking on it is like, dang it. Like, because, something's happened over the last decade, maybe even 2 decades. And that is every game needs to be Call of Duty, you know? And then, what was it, 5 years ago? Every game needs to be PUBG. You can have your twist of PUBG, but it needs to be PUBG. And I'm sick of that. This is a multiplayer that is completely different. You can make comparisons to Smash Mouth. You can make comparisons to Rocket League, to Overwatch. And
you're an all-star.
Okay. You can make comparisons to all these games, but it's really just fodder because there's just not really any other game like this, you know? And on the one hand, that's a really good thing. It's really good because it makes it stand out. But on the other side, when you have your Call of Duty people, when you have your Fortniters, when you have, you know, people who are just more interested in the quote-unquote mainstream or whatever, they're going to take a look at this game. They're going to play the game. They're going to be like, this plays nothing like Call of Duty. I'm out of here. This plays nothing like Fortnite. I'm out of here. And that's my main worry about this game in general, is that, yeah, it's not like anything else out there. And I personally count that as a positive. I will shout it from the rooftops. This game is unlike anything you've ever seen. But unfortunately, some people are just like, I like Call of Duty. I'm going to play some more Warzone, you know?
That's my sentiment exactly.
Yeah.
I'm relating this to very much something like Fall Guys or something in that caliber, as far as the potential of where this could go in the zeitgeist. It has to be picked up. And I think, again, that they're giving that 10-day free trial is a big bonus, because that's going to get a lot more people in the door to experience the game.
Yeah.
And I think it has the bones to be okay, cool. To have that, but you know, I think it depends on what factors are coming into play. Like with Fall Guys, I mean, you had the fantastic marketing team who
right?
Kind of like helped.
It was like Deadpool made a game.
Exactly, yeah, ignite the game, the experience. So I agree with you absolutely. It's gonna have to. This game is gonna live or die by the community.
Yeah, and I mean, I love that / hate it because
it's such a gamble. It's a gamble.
It is, which is why that line about how it's afraid to take risks. I'm like, this entire game is a risk. That's why it triggered me so much, because this entire game is a risk. But anyways, if it was up to me, this game would be the next game, the next esports, because if I can compare it to Fortnite, it has the aesthetic of a Fortnite game, you know, in the sense of wacky costumes, wacky everything. But I feel like it's more in universe, because the main reason I feel like it's more in universe is because, like, imagine like Dodgeball, an underdog story, the movie or whatever. It's like a lot of what made that the tournament funny was all the different characters and all the different teams or whatever. And so, like, I feel like this is in a world where it's almost like Wipeout, when you have people on Wipeout and they're just, you know, some are in a princess dress and some are in a, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't know why, but the same level of humor comes to mind when I think about that part from the video when they're saying like, oh yeah, he's doing his voice taunt or his whatever. I mean, it's like, but little does he know when you mute. And so just think about someone like just like like they were doing, and just for no fucking reason whatsoever. It just gives you like the same level of humor from Dodgeball. So I think that's pretty fitting.
Yeah.
But,
so I mean, like, it's in universe is my point. It doesn't seem out of place. Even like Warzone is another good example where it's like, okay, now all of a sudden you have Jigsaw, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you have Rambo, you have Die Hard. Is it cool to have these things in the game? Yeah, sure. but it makes no effing sense because it makes no sense to have them in the game. Meanwhile, here, if you had like a stormtrooper fighting a Goku, fighting a Gundam or whatever, it would make sense because the characters themselves already kind of seem like they're cosplayers fighting each other. So it's like it already makes sense in the world.
I've got a very good feeling we're gonna get some jerseys or some type of outfit like Average Joe or like I mean we've got
we have to but then so that's if I compare it to Fortnite. That was a really long way of me saying that's if I compare it to Fortnite, the aesthetic of it, the cartooniness of it, the family friendly nature of it. Then there's the more serious side, and that's where I would compare it to. I think the closest thing you can compare it to is Rocket League, because once again, said it 1,000 times at this point, probably, but easy to pick up, difficult to master. There is such a skill ceiling, because if all you want to do is press L2 and R2 to catch and throw, you could very well play a game that way. You might not get far, you might not have that many wins, but you're going to do your part. The real minute details come from all the nuances. Like the ability to pass a ball. One thing in the video that we watched earlier is, I didn't even think about this, but like passing the ball back and forth to each other to psych the person out. And so it's like pass, throw, and it's like little things like that. The fact that I can become a ball myself, you charge me up into an ultimate throw, and then I do like an airstrike. It's little things like that that really make this game a team game. So Rocket League, going back to that, okay? Rocket League, they have a mode where you can play with other players. And as long as you have a really good team, it can be a team-oriented game. But there's no particular mechanics in the game itself that's actually team-oriented. You're an RC car that's rocket-powered going into a soccer. There's nothing about that that's inherently team-oriented other than how you're propelling your rocket-powered car into the soccer.
Yeah.
Whereas this, there are specific things about the mechanics that are very team-oriented and make it feel more like a sport. And so now we're going to see different styles of teams. We're going to see aggressive teams. We're going to see more supportive teams. And that variety is what makes this game so great if you're willing to put the time in. So, you know, this is a really long way to go back to my original point being the community. If the community latches onto this and gives it the time of day, it's going to go so far.
Yeah.
But if we have Grenade Master 69 playing the game like, get some, oh yeah. And all he's ever worried about is being the Rambo of the team and getting 8 KOs in a row. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But when you have teams, when you have the Cloud9s and the it's literally the only esports team I can think of at the moment. But when you have your Cloud9s and your teams that like people actually know the name of the team, but for KO, for Knockout City, like it's gonna be big if it could just be big. Because I
like it has the capacity too.
Yeah, like another thing that I hope, because obviously we don't know yet, but another thing that I hope is gonna make this game, you know, way more enjoyable as an esport is how easy it is to watch. You know, Rocket League is an extremely enjoyable game to watch a tournament. You know, Call of Duty, Fortnite, Overwatch, depending on your what am I trying to say? Depending on your comfort level, can actually be a little jarring to watch because you're not controlling the character, but the character is spinning around and doing all this weird stuff. Sometimes you have no idea what's going on. Fortnite in particular, like they're just build, ramp, wall, ramp, build. It's very confusing to watch. If it's like a third-person camera that they're kind of like doing a bird's eye view, sometimes that can be interesting to watch. But just watching a person literally do this with their mouse and they're just building for 8 minutes and taking one shot every once in a while, it's not that interesting to watch. And then same thing with like Call of Duty. It's fun to watch like when they're able to pull certain things off, but I don't know. This is very subjective, obviously. But then Knockout City, it's like I'm watching a sports event, you know, whether it be the announcer himself, but also just, once again, the team play aspect of it. The team play, the way they work together or not work together, you know, that aspect, it's just fun to watch, you know? And yeah. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah.
Because 30 minutes later, I hope that answered
That's
your
a good
question.
answer, yeah.
So yeah, if it's up to me, this game is going to go far. It's going to go to the moon and back. But, you know, we will have to see. You know, you brought up the fact that it's a 10-day free trial. Leading up to this game coming out, a lot of people, even me, were like, why isn't this game just free? Like, there's this weird concept around, well, this game is just a multiplayer game, so that means it needs to be free, you know? But how many people said that about, like, Overwatch, for instance?
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, I don't know. I can't remember where I was going with that. Otherwise, okay. Sorry. Otherwise, to say that some people will try it for the 10 days and then unfortunately just be like, well, this is a free-to-play game for me. I'm not going to play it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think it deserves that, you know, which is why I'll always keep pushing the fact that for $4.99 a month, you can get a bunch of really good EA games and this game, you know, all for $4.99. Or if you're on Xbox, Game Pass Ultimate for $14.99 a month, you get 100 games, all really good games, plus this game, and all you have to do is be subscribed or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like if you're on Xbox, you should already have Game Pass. And hey, if you're on PC, get Game Pass. There's plenty of PC games that you can get on it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. I got so lost in the minutia of everything that I was talking about that it's like, where do I go from here? Where do you go, my lovely? Where do you go? You know, I think that's it.
That's all, folks.
Any last words?
Not really anything that I haven't said yet. I'm kind of excited to get into the customization of the game, like of the characters, kind of see what all earnings I'm getting and kind of what I'm playing for.
Right.
And I
Especially
really
when season one, I think a really good decision was they're having season one come out in the literal middle of the free trial. So it's like, okay, this is going to give people a really good idea of what do I have to work towards?
Yeah.
What do I have to do on a constant basis? You know, so yeah. Good. Really good. Obviously we could probably just keep gushing, or I definitely could keep gushing about this game, but you know, that's it for now. That is the podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Knocked Out Radio. Make sure you can go to @TX3 Productions, ThreadX3 Productions on YouTube, twitch.tv/ThreadX3, which we will be playing a lot of this. If it's the middle of the day, I might just, roll on or something. And if you'd like, join our Discord. We're going to be doing tournaments of this game weekly, maybe bi-weekly at least. This is going to be definitely a mainstay for us, at least for a little while. You know, I want to see how it goes, but for now,
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. For now, once again, if you're listening to this on a podcast, if you could rate us, if you could share us, you know, on Twitter or anything like that, it would very much help us out and kind of just being discovered and everything. So, let's go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much once again. I was Nick.
And I was Nate with a cat.
And we're going to end this with a little music, but feel free to bounce. Bye, kitties.
I remember when we met that night, listening to music that fit just right. Told me your name and I told you mine. Stayed up talking till we saw sunlight. I've never had anybody like you, making me laugh, yeah, the way you do. I turn on my charm just to play it cool, but inside I'm still nervous too. You got me living a dream. I'm high up in the stars when you're nearby. All I wanna do is treat you right. You got me caught up in dreams. I'm wondering how you're part of my life. It's crazy without you by my side. Nostalgia's taking me away.